we invite a guest every day to come and share with you that is an author that has a book out that they just want to share their inspiration, their motivation, the reason why they put this book into your hands, and we actually have an opportunity to hear from them. So how cool is that? You get to hear from the author themselves. And I am very excited to bring today Miss Herlene Ancar. She is a speaker, she is an author, and she is the author of the book, What You Say Matters. So hi, Herlene, how are you?
Hi. So thank you for having me, Cheryl.
Well, I am so excited to be able to have this conversation because we know each other because we have a mutual friend, my friend, your cousin.
Yes.
Hi, Deborah. Well, I am always excited to bring authors on so readers have an opportunity to kind of see, there's a book that I might not have heard of. There is someone out there that has written something that appeals to me. It deals with what I'm dealing with, and they might not have heard of the book or the information or even given this opportunity without bringing authors to the screen. And so I'm excited to be able to bring to you authors of all genres. And I'm really excited today because this is the first book that we've had on the author's lane where it is actually an activity book for our youth. But it's a special book. It's not a coloring book. This is a special activity book, which just makes it even more important once you hear where it came from and how it's being used. So, Herlene, I'm going to let you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and how we got to where you wanted to put this book in people's hands.
Awesome. Thank you again, Cheryl, for having me. So I'm author and inspirational speaker, Herlene Ancar. I reside in Fayetteville, North Carolina, the fabulous city of Fayetteville. And what got me into this is being a parent to a 15-year-old and a 7-year-old, working full-time, being a full-time wife, and a full-time student. So when I say wearing multiple hats, as most mothers do, we wear multiple hats, or as most parents do. Exactly. There's different roles. So in the hustle and bustle of the everyday work and trying to be great and work towards excellency in all of those areas, I find that quality time is what I was lacking. A lot of times we're trying to juggle and arrange so that we can have quantity time, but what are you doing with the time that you do have? So in order to maximize that, I was able to compile these life lessons that were able to be applied to fun activities that the whole family could enjoy and learn from. Now, it is a fun book. However, it can cut in areas that we need polishing. So it has a workbook component, and workbook is exactly that. We have to do the work to get the results that we want.
You know, what's so interesting about this book is that it is geared for the family to use as a whole. And it talks a lot about how to have conversations, which is something that is so important now, to be able to have these conversations with your kids. And you said this book starts at age 6 up through their teenage years. And so it allows you to be able to have a conversation with them about topics that they might not typically bring up.
Yes, definitely. And now that we're in the house more together, with the quarantine and everything being slowed down or completely shut down, we now is the time to really take advantage of these moments. Oftentimes we find ourselves in front of the Xbox or on the phone, screen time. So if we step away and just for a moment, we'll be able to tackle some of the life lessons that are needed. Such as day 5 in the book. It's a 30-day journal. So you got every day, there's an activity, a scripture, and a lesson. And day 5 is a great example of love yourself. It talks about identifying pain. Pain is pay attention inside now.
Okay.
So when there's an ache or pain, there's need to address that right then. And oftentimes as busy parents, we put our pain to the side. We don't address it. We cover it. We keep moving, and we'll deal with it later. Later never comes. So then you find yourself in a dark space, or you can't address your children's pain because you haven't dealt with your own pain. So the lesson, make the parent address their issues first. Then they can address the children. And so in doing so, you pull back the layers and you allow the child to see an example of someone dealing with pain, whether that's physical or mental. But we are the example that our children should have. We're the first lesson that they see. So when they see us address issues and how we address it, then they know how to mimic it. So it's one page of that. And so that means it's a short lesson. But that's powerful. That's impactful.
It truly is. You know, and it resonates with me because there's a lot of times where, you know, we're having communication issues, you know, in relationships and, you know, in the immediate family, but then to go outside, that carries over. So if you don't know how to have conversations, and I always say that, you know, one of the things that we're not taught is conflict resolution.
Yes.
You know, that is, but it's in everything that we do. There has to be some sort of a technique that you use that will allow you to have a conversation where you disagree.
Right.
Or you need more understanding in order for it to actually, you know, hit home.
The spot on, Cheryl. And day 5, the activity is a nail day or a hair day. So it's, you know, a lot of people don't feel safe going to the salons, the ones that are open. And then so many of our states have closed salons. So at this point, you need a salon day or nail day at the house. Now, this is something that you can do with girls or boys, because boys need to know how to do the nail care. They need to know how to groom and have, you know, the hygiene areas and stuff.
Right, yeah, it's good hygiene.
So day 5 teaches you to take time to pamper yourself with low cost to no cost activities. Use things that you have already in the house and make a spa day, or go to the dollar store and get dollar products to make this spa day up. And so the books aren't things that you don't know. It is revisiting things that maybe you've heard or you've seen indirectly, and it makes you slow down to address them.
And it seems like it gives you an opportunity to look at it through like this third lens on how you can better deal. And the other piece to this is that you said that all the activities are either low cost or no cost.
Right.
So I think that's important too, because a lot of times that's the blockage. You know, you got to go out, you got to get supplies. They got to be a certain size. They got to be a certain color. And so, you know, you just get overwhelmed with just the thought of what you have to gather.
Right. Yes. And then 2, trying to appease everyone. If you're going to make it a family affair, it can get costly to be able to address everyone, depending on how many you have in your family unit. Another example is day 6. Love your mind by feeding it knowledge. This is something where you take a staycation or you have a dream moment. You go through books, magazines, or even the Travel Channel. Step outside of your norm of CNN. Step outside of the norm of, you know, soap opera drama. And go into Animal World or something. And this helps you tap into your child's imagination. And it also gives you a moment to kind of breathe and let your imagination flow as well. Simple coloring book, color or map out your trip. So the activities are, again, very light, low cost, no cost, maybe even a trip to the park that is doing social distancing at this time. Would be a good trip for the family.
You know, this is kind of, I coined this term, and you've heard it before, many people have heard it before, but it's called edutainment. When you are literally educating and entertaining at the same time, because that allows for retention. And the other thing that you pointed out when we had a conversation is it gets parents and their kids to talk, which is something that is, sometimes it's a missing F, because like you said, everybody's going in opposite directions at different times. Nobody had that dinner table setting like, very long time ago. And so, somebody might be eating at the TV, somebody's eating in their room, somebody else is eating out.
Yes.
So there was just never that opportunity, but this literally makes you sit down and get to know who your child is. And your child gets to say, I know what my dad does.
Right.
Because oftentimes they don't have a clue.
Yeah, it really, it forces you it creates the opportunity for you to open up that dialogue that's necessary. Sometimes we don't know at what age we should have the good touches, bad touch conversation. So this also opened up the door for that. Day 16 is, I started off with the Chinese proverb, when you know better, you do better. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Day 16 talk about how to address good touches and bad touches, and how to have the conversation of how much information do you share with your friends, because at early ages bullying take place as well. And so sometimes children take things that you may have said and go and tell another child, and that violation and that hurt takes place, and then that child quiets and won't talk to anyone. So this day 16 can be used to show them how to be selective in friendship, show them how to be selective in who they choose to divulge information to, and letting them know that you are the main one that they need to come to and talk to.
This is guys, this is a phenomenal book, and it's available on Amazon. It's available at Barnes and Noble. And it's available at, is it Verante.com?
Vervante.
And I'm going to put that in the comments too, so that you know where to get the book. And let me tell you this, I went to the website and there is an entire shop built around what you say matters. It's got t-shirts, there's mugs, there's coffee cups, there is all kinds of things. So this is really kind of like a movement.
Yes. The whole idea behind What You Say Productions is the opportunity to multiply your talents. Matthew 25, where Jesus gave out the talents. He gave some 2, some 3, some 5. And then there was one that hid theirs. So will you be one that's going to sit on it and hide your talent? Or are you going to multiply your talents? How do you do that? You multiply your talents by showing your work, showcasing your work. So I create opportunities and platforms for people to showcase their work. So very much so like you're doing, Cheryl. And so I applaud you for this awesome platform, because it gives people the opportunity to multiply their talents. But this is inspiring those that said, I can write a book or I want to write a book. This is going to push them to go ahead and do that. That is multiplying your talents. And so What You Say Productions is I sow seeds and I help cultivate the land so that people can develop what has already been planted.
That is awesome. And so now whatyousayproductions.com, that is the website that you can go to get more information about the What You Say Matters. I'm going to call it a movement about what you say matters.
I like it.
Because it is something that is bigger. It is much bigger than just the activities. These activities, they get you to have conversations that you might not typically have, because neither side knows how to initiate the conversation. And so this gives you that guiding piece to it. And there's a parent's guide. So the parent's guide will actually help you too, as to how you incorporate these conversations into everyday conversations, so that it doesn't seem awkward, or sometimes when it gets awkward, then the youth don't want to talk to you. And so this kind of breaks that awkwardness and just makes it be a part of that everyday conversation. And then when things happen, I'm just thinking about my daughter, who's much older now, but when things happen, then they have a mechanism to come and talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've either laughed over it or you've shared a story from your past, that let them know this is okay to talk about.
Yes. And that's the other thing, is the parent being able to reflect on their rearing and as you get older, hindsight is 20/20.
Right.
So as you get older, you see a different perspective of what mom and dad was trying to show you. So when you reflect on this stuff, then when you get ready to share it to your child, you're sharing it from a different perspective. And there's note sections. So you get to write your notes. And later, when you guys come back to reflect, you'll be able to see that perspective from where you are now. So you'll be able to watch your growth and see how that legacy is being laid out.
This is a great book. You guys, you got to get this book. Okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go to Amazon. I want you to go to Barnes and Noble. And I want you to go to, I wrote it down here,
Vervante or whatyousayproductions.com.
Now, if they go to the website, can they get an autographed copy?
Yes, if they go to whatyousayproductions.com, and it's on sale. We're having a COVID-19 sale. So whatyousayproductions.com, it's on sale for $5. That's right. You heard it right. $5.
Listen, $5.
Yes.
And this is a book of 30 days worth of activities, and it can expand beyond the 30 days because the conversations, I'm sure, can get really deep and divulging. And so you got to get this book now. Why are you still here? You should be on Amazon.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on to the Author's Lane and sharing with us. I have to ask you a couple of questions, though, because we always have readers that want to know when they meet an author, because this book, you actually had started using this with psychologists and the families and their kids that, that they work with. So what kind of research and how long did this take you to put this together?
This book took me about 4 years.
Okay.
And it was 4 years of working with psychologists and therapists in-home situations where intervention crisis had to take place. So the activities have been tested and tried, not only by myself, but by several families. And the results, so this is 30 days of activities. We went through maybe 60 days of activities. And out of the 60 days, these 30 is what resonated with me and made an impact.
Nice. So the other question that I have, so this took you about 4 years to write. And so guys, the book is available on Amazon. Now, I always ask a question because we always want to know. So everybody has like this word for the year, your mantra or your word that kind of keeps you grounded. If you go too far left or right, it kind of just recenters you. So what would your word be?
My word for the year is laser focus. And my mantra would be change your perspective, change your life.
Okay.
So sometimes if you just change your perspective, it's going to change the whole trajectory.
Absolutely. It's like I always talk about a mind shift. When you have the ability to shift your mind. My favorite quote is in Romans, is to be renewed to be, gosh, I can't even get it right now. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Daily.
And so that's a lot of what I do as far as coaching and training is that mindset, because once you have the ability to, even if you just have an open mind, just open it up, and things, opportunities, insights, all kinds of things, will just come your way, and you will have that clarity and that revelation where you say, okay, now this makes sense.
Yes.
And it sounds like this is what happens after you've read the book and you've actually written down your reflections. And to what you stated, you can go back 6 months from now or, a year from now and just see the growth.
Yes.
And the more in-depth level of understanding that even your young one now has.
Yes. we still work the book. I think it's day 6 that tells you to create a love jar. We have a love jar on our kitchen table where you go and you pick a note, and the love note is from one of us. So it can be something as, I think your eyes are beautiful, or I love seeing you smile, things like that. So the love jar keep that love stirred up in the air, and it's really essential when you're having tough days and you don't feel so lovey-dovey. You want to go to that love jar and pull out those words. So we still work the book. It's a workbook, and we are still working the book years later after going through writing it and having it out there. It's something that will always help grow and evolve.
That is awesome. Thank you again for coming on and sharing this book. I know it's going to help a lot of people, especially those that are still home, and still being a worker, a teacher,
Yes.
whatever else that is, that ... right? All those things that everybody is doing right now. So I thank you for sharing this information. I do hope you guys go to Amazon, or you go to whatyouSayMattersProductions.com and get your book, get your autographed copy. And don't forget, it's on sale now. Yes. Who does not love a good sale? So thank you so much for joining us. I am going to put all of her contact information into the comments, and you can see this on YouTube at Cheryl Mays. You can also see this on our Facebook at riseandshine.success. And it is also going to be on dreamspiretv.com. So I am really excited about the extension of this platform for the Author's Lane. And it's all because you guys continue to watch. So thank you for joining us every day, actually Tuesday through Friday. Okay, not every day. Tuesday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much for joining us. You guys have an amazing day. And last words, get the book.